Do you feel that your sales game is certified weak?
7 days a week.
In this video, I'm going to share with you 5 things that I've learned from successful salespeople that will make you better at sales today. Thank you for watching, listening, subscribe, like the video, all the stuff that you do on YouTube. This is on YouTube, and we appreciate you for watching, supporting the channel. Over 1,000 subscribers. We're 1 for 2, right, Matt?
Right.
Let's go, baby. All right. We can only do that with your support. Share this with a friend. If you have somebody who is, in your network who needs to get better at sales or needs more striping or business development content for their business, send them our stuff, man. Tell them to subscribe too. We appreciate you for supporting. All right. If your sales game is certified weak, yeah, jeepers. I recently wrote a little article about 5 things that I have learned that great salespeople do. And I want to share them with you in video because if you have a growing business, this year in particular, I've heard a lot of business owners, especially in the States, because it's an election year. You guys are like, this is a weird year. People aren't buying as much. And so now would be the time if you're in a cycle where, you want to fill your production calendar, you need to sell some stuff. Man, get focused on the skills. Improve your skills in sales. This is the time to do it. So I'm going to share with you 5 things that I've learned from all of my mentors who, even if they weren't like known to be great salespeople, they are all great salespeople because they've all developed these 5 skills. So I want to share them with you, and it will really, really help you. So number 1, great salespeople don't sell the normal way. Air quotes. What do I mean by that? I mean, here's what I wrote about. I recently was researching something called the Sandler selling system. And one of the key principles in the Sandler selling system is whatever a typical salesman would do the opposite. So in other words, when you think of salesman, most people think of, what do you think of, Matt? Salesman?
Car salesman.
Exactly. Nailed it. So you think of a car salesman, and that's like a negative thing because most car salesmen are kind of icky, or at least that's what we perceive. They do things in our sales, or when we're a customer, they do things and say things to us that don't make us feel good. So in other words, if that is your instinct is to do salesy stuff, whether it's the words you say or how you approach sales, man, do the opposite. One thing I learned is that most salespeople aren't successful even if they actually make a lot of money. That hit me really hard because salespeople can make really good money, but just because you're making good money doesn't mean you're actually good at sales. It just means you happen to be selling to people who are desperate to buy. So in other words, like do the opposite of what your typical salesperson would do. Don't be afraid to be more assertive. Don't be afraid to do things more creatively. Just do things different. Great advice that I was given. Number 2, every great salesperson I know invested in training. So this is really self-explanatory. If you're watching or listening to this now and it's the off season, or if you haven't sold as much work as you normally would by now is the time to invest in training. All of my mentors became my mentors because at some point in their journey, they invested in training. They went to people who were great at sales. They took courses. They read books. They developed the skill. Sales is not like a DNA thing. Yes, there are definitely like tendencies and behaviors that would lend itself to being a good salesperson, but sales is a skill. And like any skill, you need to train. So go invest in training. You know what? Send me a message if you want some of the things that I've done, and I'll point you in some of the trainings that I've took that have really helped me. Number 3, all great salespeople that I know, all my mentors knew their numbers. They knew the data of what they were selling and how it was working. So, as my business was growing, I knew the fundamentals. Like I knew what our closing rate was. I knew what our average project value was. I kind of knew like the basic stuff, but great salespeople, especially my mentor now, really knows the granular details, like how many sales meetings am I booking or am I having every week? Or if you have a team of salespeople, like how many sales calls are my salespeople going on? What markets are performing the best? How long is our sales cycle for the time somebody calls in to when the contract is signed? Like those weird little data points that we might not even think about, great salespeople keep track of them. And the reason why is as you keep track of those numbers, you will then be able to make better decisions. For example, as our company has evolved and we're really starting to track those kind of granular numbers, we know exactly how long it takes to convert a customer from the time the website form comes in to when the contract is signed. That is really helpful information because it will help you make adjustments if it's too slow, probably not too fast. But if you find little like issues there, knowing your data really helps. Fourth thing, great salespeople do, and they all put out content. Yeah, every single one of my mentors, doesn't matter if it was like, they're not content creators per se, but they post regularly on social media. They post on LinkedIn. They put out webinars. They do some sort of thing that puts themselves out there. And what that does is it signals to your potential customers that you are an industry expert. So one cool thing that I've done previously, not doing it now, but with a previous employee, I actually put it into their quarterly feedback plan to make regular content posts on LinkedIn, because it makes that much of a difference. It's a fantastic marketing tool. And as a salesperson, if somebody can go back and see content or posts that you've put out on social media that shows that you know what you're talking about, you'll do better at sales for sure. And number 5, fifth thing that all great salespeople do, they know when to say no. They do not trip over themselves trying to acquire every customer, trying to sell everything to everyone. They just don't do it. They know what they're good at. They know what their ideal customer looks like. And if the shiny object comes that's like some weird customer who doesn't normally fit the profile of what your company does, they don't waste time with it. I was bad at that. I feel like I'm still not great. I'm getting better. Shiny object syndrome is what it's called. A great salesperson stays in their lane. That means if you are targeting like line striping contracts for multi-tenant retail customers, that is who you focus on. You won't get distracted with sweeping parking lots or cutting the grass or fixing their exterior lights. It's just not a thing. Even if it makes you money, great salespeople know what they do. They stay in their lane. So those are 5 things that will make you a better salesperson today. If you want more information on those, you want to chat about those, you reach out and I will chat about them with you. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, all of the stuff. Keep your stripes hot. We'll talk to you next week.